Cheers, everyone. Oh my God.
This is like really sad when Raeanne isn't here to banter with me. I feel like I miss her. Hello, cheers, and welcome to Tipsy Book Talks. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Raeanne.
And I finally convinced Raeanne to participate in the Mythtaker readathon with me. So I did this last year when it was the Make Your Mythtaker readathon or the challenge, whatever it is. It was one of those. But it was also like right when lockdown hit. It was pretty early on into lockdown and I was still in school. So I didn't really feel like I got to fully enjoy the experience of doing a readathon. I am not super big on doing readathons because I'm a mood reader and because I forget about them once I start. That was my biggest issue, but I just really want to do the full experience this year of doing the reading sprints and all of like the fun things that come with doing a readathon.
Yes, and I love all things Greek gods, and I think it's awesome that you can go down either the path or the Pantheon. So I decided to go down the beauty path, and with that, I'll be drinking this beautiful, in my head it was supposed to be really pretty, but I tried to accent it with, you know, little things here, but it's a strawberry Mythtaker mojito, and it is absolutely amazing.
But naturally, me and Raeanne are doing two different paths. It's basically our brand now. We don't read the same things. We choose a lot of different things. We're a partnership that opposites attract, you know? It works. But I am going to be doing the Greek Pantheon, so with that, I am just drinking straight up wine in a goblet that I found at a thrift store because it makes me feel like a Greek goddess, so.
My God, I can't. I have the kitten just staring at me right now. But we'll go ahead and link the rules for the path or the Pantheon that you might want to choose down in the description, and we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and jump into Taylor's TBR, and you can go ahead and find my TBR right after. So take it away, Taylor.
Okay, so for the Greek Pantheon, I'm going to read it off because there's 5 of them, and then we also have a power. I'll read right here. So it is Athena, Aphrodite, Ares, Hades, and Hestia. And then the power is to swap one book. Now, I am going to reserve that for later, when the mood reader-ness in me kicks in. So I actually am really excited about the TBR that I made, but it is a big possibility that I will want to switch things up halfway through the month, because it's who I am as a person. I wouldn't say I have commitment issues, but like with books, just a little bit. So the first one is Athena, and that is a book that is set in a city. So for this one, I'm going to go with A Touch of Malice. This one is by Scarlett Sinclair, and I have already read the first 2 books in the series, plus the Hades perspective, and I am loving them so far. But I chose this one mainly because it is set in New Athens, and they do a lot of city things, like go to clubs and parties and shit like that. But I really have been anticipating this one. Everything I've seen so far has been such great things. I've loved the series so far, but everyone who I have seen talking about this says that this one is the best in the series. So I knew that I wanted to get to it like right away. Plus I have a Persephone cosplay that I'm like currently in the making of. So I just really want to read this book so that I have more to go off of. So yeah, really excited about this one. So the next one that I have is Aphrodite, and that is a book that is featuring romance. So for this one, I chose another one that's continuing a series, and that is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. This is book 2 in Discovery of Witches in that trilogy, and I read book 1 a couple months ago, and I really, really liked it, but there was just other things that like got in the way of me starting book 2, so I finally decided that I wanted to make this a priority and basically focus like a lot on this series from now on because there's only 3. I just need to finish it so that it's not like weighing on my heart, you know? So this one, it is very romance heavy, even though it is mainly like a, you know, I wouldn't even call it a fantasy novel, but it's got a lot of fantasy themes, but it is also very romance-centric. For number 3, this one is Ares, and it is a dark story, and I actually had a lot of trouble finding one that fit this because most of the dark stories I've already read, or I don't know if they're dark stories. I literally like wanted to read A Starless Sea or The Starless Sea, and I posted it on our Instagram story to be like, is this a dark story? Because normally I like to go into books blind. So this one, I was having so much trouble finding something. The only thing that like somewhat fit that I knew was gonna fit was How to Make Friends with the Dark. But I just don't really want to read that right now because it's summer and it's happy, and that just seems like it would be very sad and probably put me into a little bit of a slump for a while, and I just know that that would happen. So I don't know if this is a dark story. I don't. It is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. This one was recommended to me by Jada. I asked her if this was a dark story. Oh, Jada from Booked and Boozy, if you're new here, sorry. But I asked her if she considered this a dark story, and she says it's a Slytherin romance, but she wouldn't consider it a dark story. So I'm still gonna read this. It's gonna count. But I'm also going to be doing a backup where I read one of the Grimm fairy tales. So this will definitely count as being dark because the Grimm fairy tales are just dark in general. But I'm going to read the Rapunzel one because I want to, because she's my favorite. Do I want to ruin Rapunzel for myself? Maybe. Okay, for number 4 we have Hades, and that is the first book in a series. So this one I am going to pick Mistborn and put it on my TBR for like the how many months in a row, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how many times I've put this on my TBR, but it's been a lot and I still have not read it. So we were actually going to do, I was personally going to do Percy Jackson, but me and Raeanne are considering reading it for the month of August, where we are going to like, I don't know if I'd call it a readathon, but we are going to try to read all of the Percy Jackson books in the month of August. So just in case we decide to do that, I went with the safe option, which was putting Mistborn on my TBR again. So if you are here for our wrap up, please hold me to this. If you do not see this on my wrap up, you can yell at me. I won't bet you anything because I'm not a gambler, but you know. And finally, we have Hestia, which is a book that has fire on the cover or in the title. And this one I chose City of Brass, obviously fire. But this one looks really, really good. I actually might be doing a buddy read with the aforementioned Jada from Booked and Boozy. She tried to read this not too long ago, and I literally told her she had to wait for me, so now is our time to finally get to this. I don't know anything about it. I just know that the cover was really beautiful and that it was on my Amazon wish list for months until I finally bought it for myself. And here we go. I'm excited to get into it, and I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it's beautiful. I'm actually really excited for this month. Not only because, like, last month we selected 13 books and I only read 2 of them, but because I feel like this is really doable, and hopefully this month is a little bit easier for me. I just also want to say shout out to myself because this is the first month in like a really long time where I haven't pressured Raeanne into reading something that I wanted her to read. So Raeanne, I don't know what you chose, but just know, viewers, that I didn't pressure her into any of it.
Hello again. So going down the path of beauty, we have 5 goddesses, all from different areas of the world. And the first goddess we have is Aphrodite, of course, the Greek goddess, and that is a book featuring romance. Here we have Georgia Peaches and the Other Forbidden Fruit. It is an LGBTQ plus love story. Goodness gracious, my mind is all over the place. But I have had this book, this literal book, on my shelf for probably 2-3 years since the last time I went to Powell's. So I thought, since Pride Month has just ended, I want to continue it into July by reading this cute little summer romance story. The second prompt is Freya, the Norse goddess, and it is a book with the animal on the cover. Now this was really, really hard for me to do because I don't really have a lot of books with animals on the cover. I tend to choose kind of like more darker books or like really like upbeat rom-com-y books, and so they normally don't center around animals, but this one I had just gotten from the last bookstore in LA, and I had gotten it because I really liked the side. It's kind of like really pretty, but it is Crooked Heart by Lisa Evans. And yeah, this was the only book that I found that had animals on the cover, and it has a little fox and a little bird. Pretty sure it's a World War II retelling, like a little love story, something going on there, and World War II is one of my favorite eras to read about, so very excited about this. But yeah. The third prompt is the Egyptian goddess Hathor. I feel like a lot of these I don't know how to pronounce, so please don't yell at me. I am trying my hardest. I looked up some of the pronunciations, so be patient with me. But the prompt is a book featuring art, and for the third and final time that I'm going to include this on my TBR, we are gonna do She's Too Pretty to Burn, because I've had this book since March, and every single month I try to include it, and I am apparently a lying bitch, so I'm going to fucking read this. You guys better come for me to read this and remind me to keep reading this, because dear God, I apparently just have not put this as a priority. But anyway, this entire book centers around the art world because it is a retelling of the Picture of Dorian Gray. So yes, it is all female or a majority, and as I have heard, it is LGBTQ+ as well. So we gotta keep that up, you know? For the fourth prompt, it is the Japanese deity Kihioten, or Hihioten, how I heard by Google Translate, so again, could be totally wrong. So this is actually a book that I've had on my shelf for probably a good 4 years or so. I believe I had found it through the Zoella Book Club, and honestly, I just think the cover is adorable. I might have also found it on Amazon, not totally positive, but we were the lucky ones. It's centered around the jazz era, which is another era that I wholeheartedly love because I love jazz music. So I'm actually really excited because I think this is a cute little love story, just solely based on the cover, but another cute little love story for the month, and I really can't wait to read it. I think it's gonna be adorable. And for the last goddess deity, we have Osun, which is from the Yoruba religion. It's either Osun or Oshun. Found two different pronunciations online, so not totally positive, but it is a book with feminist themes, and again, I'm gonna include this one. I'm going to read it. It's going to fucking happen. I know Taylor will personally come for me if I do not finish this book, and that is Throne of Glass, because, you know, this girl kills it, literally. So yes, I had actually started this a few months ago. You can even see there's a little sticky note because I tried to read a little bit. I literally, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because, as you probably can see, I have the other ones here. I have family members. No. I have my girlfriend's family wanting me to read this. I have Taylor coming at me to read this, and Booked and Boozy are also reading this, and I'm going to fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do it. But yes, we are ending that there. That is my TBR. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, that's it for us today, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe if you have not already.
But we also have our Instagram and TikTok, so don't forget to follow us there. But anyway, cheers.
Cheers!